Well, it's always a pleasure to dialogue with Dr. Flora Stay. I have a question I wanted to ask you for a long time, and I'll try to get through this very quickly. We have a granddaughter who's 5 years old, and the other day someone in our family bought her a tube of Barbie toothpaste. And they all came home, and I happened to notice that she was going into the bathroom frequently. And so I knew she couldn't have to go to the bathroom that often, and I kind of followed her, and she was brushing her teeth. I looked at that tube, and it had warnings on it that scares me as an adult. Immediately, I showed it to her mother and to her grandmother, and there's no more Barbie toothpaste. I talked to the dental hygienists at my dentist's, and they had no idea about the warnings on toothpaste. It really scares me to understand that we're consuming products on a regular basis that could be extremely detrimental to our health.
Lyle, I am so very passionate about this. Our children are at risk. There is a warning on every single tube that has fluoride and saccharin in it, even on children's. And of course, it's a catch-22 because they have the warning, but at the same time, they have the bubblegum flavor and the grape jelly flavor and the sparklets and the pretty pictures on the outside of the tube, so that the child wants to go and brush, brush, brush. And statistics show that children under the age of 4 swallow more than they spit.
Absolutely.
And if a child at that age swallows a half a tube, they could potentially be dead. So it's very, very important. Another very important factor we're missing is that as our bodies become weakened through exposure to a lot of toxic ingredients, DNA and genetics can also be changed. For example, somebody can be very healthy who starts smoking, and they start to smoke a lot, then they have a child. Well, whatever damage is done to them may not show up at the next generation, but as then they smoke, it gets passed on. Eventually, it's going to affect future generations. Same thing with any other personal care product we're using. This is why we are having an epidemic of chronic illness, allergies. As parents, since the 1960s, 80s, more and more ingredients, questionable ingredients, are being added to toothpaste and personal care products. It keeps being passed on generation after generation, so now we're starting to see a lot of the negative effects of that. It's just very important as consumers to be educated, to not go for the pretty packages, to read labels. Every mother should, and when I give the talks to dentists, dental hygienists, to consumers about this information, mothers get very upset and they say, oh, I'm being a bad mother. No, they're not being a bad mother. They just don't know this information. Even the dental community, like you said, don't know this information. I can't tell you how many times I give this talk and dentists say, I didn't know there was a warning on the toothpaste.
Isn't that amazing?
And that's why we're having this talk, because we want to help educate everybody that what we're using, it's not just has an immediate effect on us, but ongoing for generations. And we need to just stop and think about all this.
Well, we implore you, the listener, to be the primary motivator and captain of your own healthcare team, and definitely the healthcare of your child until they get to the place where they can take on their own. Thank you very much.
Thank you.